Hey, hi, hello, konnichiwa. Today's bit of video blog has absolutely nothing to do with music. Today I want to talk about disability. So yesterday I posted something about my wheelchair use on Instagram, and I feel a bit self-conscious talking about disability online, and the comments were so kind of positive and encouraging that I thought maybe I should actually talk about disability a bit more. Specifically, I wanted to talk to you about wheelchairs and my wheelchair use. The reason I want to talk about wheelchair use today is because I got a flat tire. And having a flat tire has forced me to really reflect on how reliant I am on my wheelchair. So I should explain. I'm what's called an ambulant wheelchair user, so I can walk and I use a wheelchair, and it's controversial at times. So for a bit of backstory, I was diagnosed with CP when I was 2, that's cerebral palsy. My parents were told that I would never walk. My mum teamed up with a very forward-thinking physiotherapist who thought that I probably could walk with the right support and treatment, and I did eventually learn to walk around the age of 4, but it's always been a challenge for me. It's always been quite painful, and as I've got older it's just got harder and harder and harder. About 3 or 4 years ago I decided that it was just too much after years of struggling and falling over and having a lot of injuries, and I eventually got a wheelchair. And I used to think that was kind of like a death sentence. I knew that the time would come when I would need a wheelchair, and I thought that once I'd got one that my life would be over. But I can't tell you how wrong that idea about the chair was. I mean, it's not a death sentence at all. It's been an absolutely amazing experience in terms of having freedom to do things that I just couldn't do anymore. So maybe 10 years ago I might have tried to hobble around and deal with a zoo or a theme park or something and just really injure myself in the process. I can't walk really at all without being in a lot of pain, so having a wheelchair is just makes so much more sense. And I suddenly feel a lot freer and easier to do so much stuff. So my tyre burst the other day and I had to go to a shop and pick something up. Foolishly, I hobbled into the shop on my crutches. It wasn't very far, I just parked right outside the door and went in. But even that was enough to really flare up some old injuries. I've got a hip pain thing that just is really unbearable at times, and it's flared up so bad this week now as a result of that. And it's just made me reflect on just how much I need the chair, which I'm completely okay with. It's fine, I really like my chair, I really like what it gives me. But because I can get out of it, sometimes in public, society can struggle with that a little bit. So maybe if I'm in a supermarket and I stand up to get something from a high shelf, because I can, maybe I'll get some really weird stares and things, and people are like, stairs as in stairs, not stairs, obviously not stairs. Stairs would be a bad idea. People can be really weird about that sort of thing. I was at a gig maybe last year and I stood up to see the merchandise stand. There's a crowd of people and there's merch up there, and I wanted to get a t-shirt, and I stood up to see what there was on offer, and there was a couple next to me that were just giggling and pointing, and it was just really? I think there's a perception that if you're in a wheelchair, particularly a sort of active type self-propelled chair like I use, that people assume that you're paralysed from the waist down. You're in that because you can't walk at all. Which is just a strange conclusion to come to when you think about it. Walking is a skill like anything else, right? And it's a skill that I don't possess particularly well. If I do walk at all, I have to really concentrate on it. I can't just my body, the communication between my brain and my limbs is pretty weird. I can't really do anything without thinking about it. And even walking a few steps is quite difficult, not only for my body, but in terms of my concentration. That doesn't mean that I can't walk at all, and it certainly doesn't mean that I'm paralysed. And that is where the kind of social perception of wheelchair use gets really kind of weird for me, because people have these unusual reactions. Sometimes it's kind of funny. I was at Disneyland with my family and I had the green access card, and they do say one of the things to access some of the rides, you have to be able to transfer from your chair to the ride independently. They're not, for insurance purposes, they can't help you, but obviously, if you can do it yourself, then great, you can use those rides. And I can transfer from my chair to, a ride. And we were getting on this ride and there was a woman already on it, and she turned around, and as I stood up, I mean, her jaw hit the floor. Like, I think she thought she was witnessing a miracle, perhaps. Disney had healed me in some way. Sometimes it kind of makes me chuckle, the sort of naivety of that, and then other times it's kind of like really frustrating. It's my choice, right? I mean, it is my body, and I don't want to trash it by trying to hobble those few steps and injuring myself just to appease what society thinks I should do. So, the reason I'm talking about this is that I just want to kind of make a step to a push towards ending that awkwardness, because for people like myself who use a wheelchair and need to get out of it occasionally, maybe I'm in a restaurant and I'd rather sit in the seat that's there. It's fine. Can I just do that without stares and awkwardness? I don't know, but I'm trying to be open-minded and sympathetic to the fact that perhaps these are issues that people just don't understand about disability, and what you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know, right? If you see a wheelchair user transferring to another seat in a restaurant or standing up to get something in a supermarket, there's just no reason to be weird about it. It's fine. And just because I can walk a little bit doesn't mean I can walk enough to safely navigate the world. The reality is that I put my body through a lot of stress, and I've permanently injured myself by walking as much as I possibly could. It's probably not that long ago that I was still pushing through this. I mean, there's lots of socially awkward stuff around disability, and I could probably make a short film about this stuff. But there's a hashtag, ambulant wheelchair users exist. It's a bit of a mouthful, but the issue is really important. Not every wheelchair user is paralysed. For some people, the impairment may be variable, and they may need their chair on some days and may not on another day. Wheelchair use for me is about making a safe choice about my body. It's not a last resort because I can't walk at all. It's given me freedom to do things that I just couldn't do anymore, because those kind of, going out for the day or going shopping in a city or something, I just can't do that on my feet. It's just never going to happen. And not only is that stuff really embarrassing and frustrating, it's dangerous, yeah? It's just dangerous. So yeah, if nothing else, I thought, with the amount of stuff that I do and the amount of travelling and all the places that people see me doing things, I thought it'd be good to just flag that weirdness. I should also state that most of the time people are not weird. This isn't something that's 24/7, but there's always most days there might be one kind of slightly weird interaction that makes me feel a bit exhausted. But anyway, right now I'm sat here at home not going anywhere to do any work because of my flat tyre. I'm just waiting for the wheelchair repair guys to come out now and change this. We're going to go for solid tyres this time because I've had about 4 punctures in the last couple of months. So yeah, it's super annoying. Thanks for listening. Thanks for thinking about disability and the challenges that disabled people face. And I'll be back with something musical another time. Yes. Thanks.